In this episode of The Rebel Rebel, we meet Bob Burg, best-selling author, eternal learner, and unapologetic go-giver. From sales slumps to serving others, Bob shares timeless lessons on kindness, purpose, and staying grounded. This one's a warm cup of wisdom you'll want to sip slow. This episode of The Rebel Rebel is brought to you by my book, Brand Jitsu. I've spent over 25 years in the trenches helping artists, entrepreneurs, and brands stop being ignored. I took everything I've learned, the wins, the hard lessons, the frameworks that actually work, and I put it into one book. It's called Brand Jitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable, and it'll help you tell your story in a way that people actually remember. Get it at your favorite bookstore or visit brandjitsu.com. Welcome to The Rebel Rebel. I'm your host, Michael Dargie, and somewhere around the world for me, we don't know where, but we're going to find out. Please welcome Bob Burg. Bob, how the heck are you?
Great, Michael. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much for being here. Just so we don't need to geolocate you specifically, but where are you in the world?
Jupiter, Florida, which is a northern suburb of West Palm Beach.
That's amazing. I thought you were going to just stick with Jupiter, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a crazy show.
Yeah, that would get it off to a good start. Sure.
Yeah, right. So just so that people, I know a lot of people already know who you are, but for those that don't, what is it that you do?
I do not know. I've been trying to figure that out now for 67 years, and it just keeps getting further and further away. No, for the last, 35 plus years, I was a convention conference speaker and so forth, and I've written a few books. And probably the one I'm best known for is one that I co-authored with John David Mann called The Go-Giver, which is a business parable focused on the understanding that to the degree that you can take your focus off of yourself and place it on serving others, discovering what they need, what they want, what they desire. That's the degree that you create a context for success where everyone wins.
Yeah. Well, I love that. One of the so I've only written one book. I have not written the shelves of books that you have. And one of the things in there that I go into is when we get into the customer experience. So it's called Brand Jitsu, and it's about building your brand.
Love that. I mean, if you can come up with that name for a brand, then you are a branding authority from the start. I was going through your site, and it's like, wow, that is good stuff.
Oh, thanks, man. But the point I guess I wanted to make is that when we talk about the customer, is that we're there in service of them. It's not the other way around.
And that's the biggest thing that people really need to discover, and especially to the degree that we live in a free market based economy. And when I say free market, I simply mean no one's forced to do business with you, right?
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I used to say when I was on the road speaking at sales conferences, I'd often begin by saying, nobody's going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet. Right? They're not going to buy from you because you have a sales goal, you need the money, or even because you're a really nice human being, even though I'm sure you're a really nice human being. No, they're going to buy from you because they believe that ultimately they will be better off by doing so than by not doing so.
Absolutely.
And so it's always about pleasing the customer. That is why that is why they're going to buy from you.
Yeah, 100%. I liken it in the. I mean, we're of a similar vintage. So if I drop the, Yoda and Luke reference, you're going to go right back to 1977 with me, I think.
Yeah.
And our job as businesses is to be the Yoda. We've got the Force. The Luke is on their journey. That's the customer. They need the Force, so they're going to come and get the Force from us. Then they're going to go off and have the rest of their journey.
Exactly.
Our job is just to help them with the Force.
That's it, and that is our job. Yeah, it is. It is about them.
How did you? Let's go back in time a little bit, and maybe you're a young Bob Burg. Maybe you're like a precocious 5-year-old. I don't know when this happened, but did you always know that this is what you were going to do with your life?
No, I actually, when I was a kid, I thought I was going to grow up to be third baseman for the Boston Red Sox.
That's very specific.
I grew up in I grew up in the Boston area, and so that was and I could have actually. The only thing I lacked was any sense of any semblance of talent, Other than that, I mean, it was great. It was the job. I was just it was great.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and I wouldn't have done very well in Canada, though, because I could not skate. It was the strangest thing. I mean, I was a
Yeah.
pretty good athlete, but, get me on the, lake, the frozen lakes of
Yeah.
Massachusetts, and all my friends, great skaters, and I was, like, on my ankles doing it.
Oh,
So, yeah, so, I love Canada, but I would not have survived up there, in
that's
terms of,
fair.
hockey. But,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, I never thought of, I started out actually in radio when I got, as a young adult. So I started out as a sportscaster because I wasn't good enough to play in anything significant, but I could sportscast,
Love
and
it.
yeah, and then got a job on a TV station as on an ABC affiliate as the late night news guy.
Yeah.
But again, wasn't really that good at that. I could read the news, you know, and I was probably too positive for the medium because my idea of a good opening would be, "Good evening, in the news tonight, everything's great. Go to sleep.
Yay!
It will let you know if something comes up." No,
Yeah, but it turns
I
off the
wasn't
set.
long for that. So that then I graduated into sales, and that's kind of where the journey began.
Wow. And what I don't know, what gripped you about sales? Like I've talked with very people, like a bunch of different people that have different things that they love about it. What's your thing?
So when I first got into sales, I knew nothing about it. Had no formal sales training. So I thought it was just you knock on doors, make phone calls, talk to people, blah 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 about your product, and then I
Yeah.
quickly found out that did not work.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not sure what to do here. So I was in a bookstore one day looking for something. And back then, 40 years ago, who knew about sales training and all that? I didn't know anything about it. I just figured there had to be
Sure.
something, because I
Yeah.
was desperate. So there were two books there. One was by Tom Hopkins and one was by Zig Ziglar, two of the legends in the space.
Yeah.
And I got their books, and I didn't read them. I devoured them, and I just every night after work I would go through them and I'd highlight and underline and take notes and practice, and within a few weeks, there's the funny thing. Within a few weeks, Michael, my sales just really improved. Now,
Huh.
there was no difference between, Bob Burg from 3 weeks earlier and 3 weeks later, other than I had learned a methodology, right? I'd
Right.
learned a way of doing it, a system, if you will.
Yeah.
And, I personally define a system as the process of predictably achieving a goal based on a logical and specific set of how to principles, the key
Yes.
being predictability, right? If
Yeah.
it's been proven that by doing A, you'll get the desired results of B, then you know that all you need to do is A and continue to do A, you'll get the desired. So that this was like really eye opening for me. But here's what really turned me on about the whole thing is that I started in the books I'd read because now I'm starting to get all these sales books, going to conferences, getting back then it was audio cassette tape albums. That's how long.
I remember those.
Yep, and and I kept hearing recommendations for all these books that seemingly had nothing to do with how to sell, but it was about personal development.
Mm,
So I'm getting these books like How to Win Friends and Influence People and The Magic of Thinking Big and Think and Grow Rich and Psycho-Cybernetics and Lead the Field and
my God.
Greatest Salesman in the World and all these, and it's wow, this is great
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to really grow and I'm realizing that success is really an inside job. I mean, it manifests outwardly, of course, but it's first what you put into your head, and then what from your head goes into your heart, and what you're applying, and so forth. And I just love the whole thing. And I had a good product, and so I love the fact that when I help someone own the product, their life is better off. So it's like, and I'm making money from it. So it's like this is great stuff.
Yeah. No
And
kidding.
yeah, and it kind of went from there.
Wow. Were there any, I guess, moments where you were thinking this isn't for me? That this was like I'm- it's a trap.
Yeah.
Like the
Uh, you know, they, I mean, I got into sales slumps. And, the thing about sales slumps, especially when you're a young salesperson, is you think they're never going to end. And so you put pressure on yourself, and the more pressure you put on yourself, the more you get self-focused instead of other-focused,
uh,
and you're kind of pushing things away. So yeah, those were, kind of panicky things, and especially when you're on commission and
oh,
that.
sure.
So sure, but by and large, I loved it.
Awesome. What's your favorite thing to do in Jupiter?
I'd say stay home with my cat, and
What's
read. I
what's your
mean,
cat's name?
my cat's name is Buddy. He
Ooh,
he was rescued by my friend Wendy, who has a pet rescue and adoption and uh, uh, organization.
yeah.
And so yeah, Buddy's a rescue, like they all are. And so yeah, it's good to know he's got a really good life now.
And what kind of cat is Buddy?
I don't know exactly. Just black with some white, and yeah. So I'm not exactly sure even what
Amazing.
it is. I know
Uh,
you have a couple of cats yourself that you and your wife rescued. You guys
yeah.
them personally when you say it's a rescue, it was really a rescue because you all found them somewhere.
Yeah, well, so yeah, a friend of ours, they've got a acreage south of where I live, and it was like middle of the winter. Well, I guess like November, snow was falling, and somebody dumped a box of kittens on their driveway.
Oh,
I know it just like it boils my blood. But they took them all in. There's like I think it's 5 or 6 of them, and uh, Mitch Ballot is his name. He's a really great musician as well. Side note, but he took them in and put them in the farm with the with the horses and the big dogs and the whatever, and basically weaned them and raised them for the first month to look after them. And then at some point they're like, well, we have to foster them or we have to
mhm,
move them onto forever homes. And they
yeah,
posted online, and yeah, Jen and I went down, and yeah, that just one of them. Mabel is her name. Her street name was Sage, but her now name is Mabel. She imprinted on me, and then she had a best bud named Charlie, and her street name was Ditch. And, yeah. Anyway, so they ended up. We couldn't split them up. We weren't
yeah.
looking for 2 cats, but when you gotta take them if they're buds.
I know. Yeah, they're bonded, and
Yeah,
that's what it is. But yeah, so good. I'm thankful you all did that. But
yeah.
yeah,
Me too. Rescue pets, people. Like,
that's right.
don't go buy them. Just go. There's plenty.
I was going to say the same thing. There are plenty of them out there.
Yeah, and there's just such great characters as well, right?
They
Like,
are.
yeah. What is so in Jupiter, you're minding your own business. Maybe you're going for a walk. I don't know if you do that sort of thing. I don't. I've never been to
Should
Jupiter.
should I don't. Yeah, Jupiter's a really nice place. I've been here 30, I guess 38 years now.
Wild.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of all different places in Florida, but never Jupiter.
You
So
never
now
have heard of Jupiter? It was for a long time. It was well known as where Burt Reynolds grew up.
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was kind of our claim to fame for a long time.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just right on the ocean, and it's just nice weather. Other than hurricanes, which
Yeah,
sort of thing.
for
But
sure.
you know,
So I'm going to paint you a picture. So, and again, I don't know your life other than what's publicly available, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, you're sitting on your veranda. I don't know if you have a veranda, but let's just say that you do.
what is a veranda again? I hear the
That's
name.
It's like a deck. Maybe you've got like like an easy chair out there or something.
Don't have a veranda.
Swing.
No,
Okay.
that's okay. We're
All
gonna
right.
make
Well, imagine.
like a veranda. That's cool. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do
All right. I bequeath you with a veranda. Now you, bam, you got one. Bippity bobbity boo. All right. Like, you're in your reading nook.
it. Mhm.
Hmm? All right.
Ooh,
Right.
yep,
And you got Buddy with you,
yeah.
and you're reading a book. You've got a glass of something, whatever that happens to be. And
Actually, yep, cup of coffee.
yeah, and you're paging through your book, you're absorbing it. You are probably one of those people that break the spines on books.
Yeah, they're highlighted notes that you can see in the background. There's all
Yeah.
sorts of paper sticking up out of the the sticky
Awesome.
notes and all this. Yeah,
This is
yeah,
what books are for.
they get well worn.
Excellent. And so you just read a passage and it's
Mm,
just sitting with you, and you turn the book over and you scratch Buddy behind the ear,
yeah.
and you just take a beat and you think to yourself, "Ah, Bob, I wish the world knew this one thing." What is the one thing that you wish the world knew
About me personally, or about the world itself.
about the world? Like the thing that youth will, um, if the world knew this, we would just be in a much better place.
Yeah, it's probably something very simple, like that. If if people would just try to be kind to one another and make a positive difference, instead of being so focused on ourselves and so forth, that it would be amazing how it would just expand into all this amazing greatness. My favorite personal development book is by Michael A. Singer. He's written several books. Most well known book is the Untethered Soul. He also wrote The Surrender Experiment, but the one I love the most is his third book, and that is called Living Untethered, which to me is a book. My goodness, I wish I had had this when I was 20. Wish he had written it back then, of course, but because it's the best book I've ever read for really understanding yourself, understanding your relationship with the world, your relationship with others, and really how life works. But here's what he says in the book, and I've actually got this, so I'm going to look up, if you don't mind, as I'm reading.
Yeah, of
I
course.
actually have it posted to my computer, and I think it answers your question. He wrote this: the highest thing you could do with your life is to make it so that every moment that passes before you is better off because it did. That's the highest definition of the purpose of life. That every single moment, every person, every moment that happens to unfold in front of you is better off because it passed by you. It was raised a little.
Oh my
And imagine if
god.
we all, with that attitude, it means we would smile at someone without any reason at all.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd make their day because nobody smiles at them, or if we held the door open for someone, or if we poured someone's coffee for them, or if we thanked the person who's usually not thanked, or, you know, um, or fed an animal, or did something that was, that I imagine what the world could be with that. So yeah, that would be the one thing.
I love that. Like that, yeah, and I like the last line was just lifts it up a little.
Yeah, it was
It
raised.
doesn't have to be a lot.
No, that's the thing. And that does, he was talking about, you see somebody left a plastic cup in the parking lot, of the store or something like that. So pick it up.
Yeah.
Say, well, but what about the person who did it? Well, you know what? They did what they did, and that is, where they are right now. And for whatever reason, we don't even know. Whatever, forget about that. Put
Yes.
that out of mind. Just you make it a little better by picking the thing up and throwing it in the trash can.
I love it. Yeah,
It's like those little things.
put away a shopping cart. It's not yours.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
amazing. It's funny, my, eldest son and I, we went out last night just to hang out, have a cocktail and, eat some steak. We just wanted to would chill, and the craziest thing happened. The server at the restaurant, we went to the Keg. I don't know if you have those down there, but it's like a steak place, right? And this server, her name was Jamie, and she was just such a cool person, like just so nice and just amazing. And we were riffing quite a bit and just playing around and having fun. And she was there for it. And then at the end, we were like, she's going to bring her a check, and we're just like, we need to talk to your manager. Like, and then we put on this like, we got to talk to your manager. So she brings out the manager, and we just doused her with praise. Like,
Uh,
and this guy, the manager, was like, my God, people just don't do this. Um,
yeah.
and this means so much to me as a manager, and it's going to mean so much to her because it's nice to get recognized. And
Mhm.
I think you
Mhm.
have to take those moments.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and acknowledging someone is just one of the best things you can do. Acknowledging them to them, but also acknowledging them to other people,
Yeah.
and
Huh,
those who they were, yeah, there's all these things we can do to raise just a little bit.
just a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. What's a thing that you do for Bob? Like how do you refill your bucket?
So, a lot of times I'll go out just by myself to there's a place called Brooklyn Bagel, which I think originated in New York, Brooklyn, obviously,
Yeah.
and I'll just, have a bagel and coffee and read. And I mean, I'm a simple guy. Some people say simpleton, okay?
Uh-huh.
But I mean, I'm a simple guy. And those are the things that I do that I just love.
Amazing.
So yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Have you traveled much?
Oh, well, for 30, close to 35 years, I guess I was traveling all the time because I was speaking at conferences. But
Mm,
I never liked the travel. I'm really a homebody.
okay.
But I
Interesting.
I loved what I did, and
Yeah.
I loved, speaking and getting to meet the amazing people I got to meet and the clients I got to serve. I was wondering, I'm so lucky to have been able to do that for so long. But the traveling part, I just never liked. But
Interesting.
sometimes you just gotta do some of those things you don't like as much. But then you also have to count your blessings. And it's not like I had to take a train everywhere. It was still, 3 to 5 to 6 or 7 hours. I was, instead of days to get there, I didn't have to take the bus to get there. And,
Yeah.
so and I was always put up in a really nice place because it was where the conferences were
Right.
being held. So it's not, so I could say, oh, God, I want to be back in my own bed, or I don't want to be on this tube going through the air.
Right.
But still,
What
for me, I mean, it's like,
Oh,
gotta be
poor Bob.
grateful for that. But yeah, so I traveled a whole lot. It was in Canada. It was I my first stop was always Tim Hortons, no matter where I was, Canada. As soon as I got off.
Hilarious.
Yep.
Oh, amazing. That's a nice deep Canadian cut. We appreciate it. Thank you, Bob.
Timmy.
Um, yeah, good old Timmy's. We used to have a house, my ex-wife and I, in Cochrane, Ontario, which is pretty much as far north as you can go before you hit James Bay. And that's where Tim Hortons grew up. Where
Oh,
Tim
really?
Horton grew up.
No,
Yeah,
no kidding.
yeah.
Well, I actually remember, and I was probably, gosh, maybe 9 or 10 years old, but I actually remember I think it was his last year in the NHL.
Wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
wild, wild. What's your sports team? Do you have a sports team?
Yeah, sort of now, I guess. For many years, it was the Marlins and the
All right.
Dolphins. Interesting. So growing up in the Boston area, I grew up outside of Boston. So
Yeah.
it was the four teams. It was the Red Sox, the Patriots, the Celtics, and the Bruins.
Hmm.
And you talk about a sports fanatic, that.
Bobby Orr, baby.
Oh, Bobby Orr.
Oh,
I mean, don't even get me started. Okay.
I know.
Bobby Orr was the greatest hockey player of all time, and I'm gonna say this, I understand that Wayne Gretzky was great, all
Mm,
respect to him, he was amazing,
yeah,
but there was no the game went according to how Bobby Orr wanted the game to go. I
word.
have never seen a guy who could absolutely just control the game, and,
Yeah.
I had a couple of chances to meet him as a young sports reporter, just a couple times. The nicest, and I am really I mean, gosh darn. Gosh darn, really the nicest guy you could ever meet. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely a fan. It doesn't matter how long ago it was he played.
Well, and this is like when I was growing up. So I grew up just outside of Toronto. So my team, my hockey team, was the Leafs, and like the '70s Leafs, like Mike Palmateer in goal, and Boreas Salming was there. Um, you know, Tiger was playing, like, but they're all playing against um, Bobby Orr. Uh, anyway, I digress, but I think it's fun to sort of look back in time and see those snippets and the people that
Oh,
affected the
yeah.
game and how much we
I
loved
love
it.
watching those on YouTube sometimes, I'll watch those. But, yeah, the Leafs always had great, well, sort of the Canadiens were always a great team
Oh,
as
they were
well.
the actual
Yeah,
team. I mean,
yeah.
the
Well, Leafs were always had a good team, but I think the Canadiens were sort of the dynasty
yeah.
that, they were like our Celtics at the time. They pretty
Oh,
much,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Larry Bird.
Oh, yeah, he was something else. And so I kinda grew up right before he got there,
Mm,
So it was still in the days of Bill Russell, John Havlicek, and some of these we probably never heard of, but I mean, well, Bill Russell you would have,
yeah.
but I mean, they were great, and it was like year after year, and then they'd be like 1 or 2 years where they had like a lag, and then they're right back on top as champions. But you could always go to Boston Garden, or as it's more properly pronounced, the Garden, and 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 you could get into a Celtics game with no problem. Okay, I mean, I'm talking about in their championship years, there was never a
Oh,
problem to get in. Larry Bird signs, you could not get a seat.
oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it changed the whole dynamic. I yeah, I never knew one person could really, that's when I discovered, yeah, wow, one person can make a whole difference when it comes to that.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
That's
and
wild.
he was wonderful. Wow, what a fantastic player.
What's the one thing that you haven't done yet that you want to get done before you shuffle off this mortal coil?
Yeah, I wish I could say I had, like, this bucket list. I never really had a bucket list. I gotta be the most boring person. I'm telling you,
No, dude.
I'm probably a tough interview here because it's like I don't really have anything that
Well, if you said I just want to scritch Buddy behind the ear, like,
that's about
and
it.
then drop dead, I'm fine with that. I think that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really pretty content. I mean, I still have lots of room to grow as a human being, as a person, and continue to read, study, learn, but just because I love doing it. But I don't really, I don't have any kind of thing like, wow, I've got to, go
Mm,
to, you know, I've got to climb Mount Everest before I'm done, and and or and I guess there was a Jeopardy clue that says, "What is one thing Bob will never do?" And the answer was, skydive because he's
uh-huh.
chicken. And so, what is skydiving? Because he's a chicken. So no, it's none of those things are anything.
What's your favorite thing to do with another human?
Having a good conversation about politics or philosophy or history or something, a topic that is interesting, and that I can be challenged, that the person doesn't necessarily agree with me, but that we can respectfully ask questions and learn from each other,
Oh, I love
and
that.
so forth. Yeah, yeah, I can do
My
that. I can do for hours.
Oh my goodness. My youngest son is like that. He loves the debate and he loves to understand and he loves to have those conversations. That's really cool. Damn. Um do you cook? You mentioned that you go to this bagel place, but like is there a thing that you do for yourself when you're just like, "Oh, I'm just going to spin up some bolognese," or
Nah, nah, I don't cook. I eat.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's your next book?
So it it's gonna be a rewrite of a book that I had out, that I think came out in 2015, that was called, Adversaries into Allies, which was a
Oh.
book on really on people skills, I guess is what you could call it.
Yeah.
And I had one other book on that sold really well, but this one didn't sell that well. And I guess the title was just not something that clicked with people. So I got the rights back from the publisher. I've rewritten a few things. I've cleaned it up a little bit. I think it's a little better. And but really, it's going to be the title will be Genuine Influence: How to Master the Art of Persuasion. And
Ah,
yeah, that will come out sometime, probably first quarter of 2026.
that's
So I'm
awesome.
excited about that. Yeah, that's a topic that really I'm excited about it. I would say it's been called the how to win friends and influence people of the 21st century, except for I'm the one that said it. So I guess it doesn't really.
I think you totally said it.
It was called that by me.
Bob Burg.
Yeah, myself.
Hashtag Bob Burg.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh my god. There's people, Bob, in this world. I call them rebels in waiting. And the idea here is that they're either about to embark on a rebellion. They've started a rebellion and are like, "Oh no, what have I done?" Or they've wily coyoted their self off of a cliff and they just now look down and realize there's nothing there. What advice do you have for those rebels in waiting to help them get to where they're going?
Well, I mean, I guess one important part is really understanding why you're doing it, because I don't think it's enough to be a rebel without a cause.
100%.
You know, we should make a movie of that one day and call it "Rebel Without a Cause." I think we might have something
Hmm.
there. And
I
now
like the title. Let's reel it in.
it's
I like it.
but, I think when you have the cause, you're willing to do the things it takes to make it happen, you
Love
know?
it.
And so I think it begins with that is knowing, knowing that cause and having that desire. And then I think it's knowing you don't have to go it alone. That there are people who've been there before you. It may not have been the same thing that you're doing, but it's probably something similar or principles that work along the same line. And
Yeah.
so find the system, learn the system. How did people who you admire who are doing a certain who took something from nothing and get how did they do it? And then another, part is take action because action without knowledge is really the same as not having that knowledge,
Yeah.
for all the good it does. I think you got to be persistent. You've got to outlast the no's. I think that's one of the toughest things that people deal with or don't deal with necessarily. I think a lot of people who really could go big and do something really substantial. I think they quit too soon, not because they're told no or have a failure, but because they think they're the only ones being told no or have a failure because they see all these other people who are where they want to be and they think, oh, I'm sure that it was just easy for them. They went out and they did. And of course, we know that's not the case.
Yeah.
What's the old saying? It takes 5 gallons of no's to get a quart of yeses. But the quart of yeses is what you need to be successful.
Yeah.
But you've got to know that part of success are those failures. And then I think the last part is having the belief in yourself and in your cause, in your mission, in your journey, in your whatever it happens to be. So that, if you're gonna be a rebel, you're gonna be prepared, to go out and be able to do that. And those are, again, just my thoughts, doesn't mean they're right.
Uh, Bob, this is amazing. Where can people learn more about you?
So speaking of simplicity, it's just Burg.com.
Damn.
That's
Nicely
from
done, sir.
Yeah, well, that's from being old and being around at the beginning, and what's funny is I didn't even what happened was a couple of guys called me from, is it Silicon Valley, I guess is where all the
Yeah.
tech things are. This is in the '90s. And they had read my book, Endless Referrals, which was my first book. It was a book on business networking. It has nothing to do with tech.
Yeah.
But they had gotten a lot of good out of the book. And so they called me and they said they wanted to thank me and that as a way of thanking me, they wanted to make a suggestion to me that would really help me in the future. And I said, sure. What? And they go, we want you to get something called Burg.com. And I said, "Well, I appreciate that, but why would I want something called Burg.com?" And they said, "Just trust us. We're gonna walk you through and help you get it right now."
That's
So I
amazing.
have the Burg.com site. I can't tell you how many times I've been written by people asking me to buy if they could buy
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
Oh my god. That is high praise. Like
yeah,
to oh,
but
damn.
I'm
All right,
forever grateful
everybody.
to them. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Berg.com. Go hit it up. Follow Bob Burg. Do the stuff. Buy his books. Bob, this has been an absolute joy for me. Thank you so much for taking the time.
My absolute pleasure, Michael. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Hey, if you're an artist, scientist, entrepreneur, or business owner who wants a smooth and proven method to find, shape, and share your story with the world, head on over to brandjitsu.com and order a copy of my book, Brand Jitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable. I've been your host, Michael Dargie, and this has been the Rebel Podcast. It's a podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs all over the world. And hey, if you're a rebel or you know a rebel, head on over to the rebelrebelpodcast.com and fill out the guest request form. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time.